Smart, bringing people together. And the Belize Bank, our country, your bank.
Good morning and welcome to Open Your Eyes.
Start your morning right.
I'm Sabrina Daly.
And I'm Isani Ketano. Good morning.
And good morning, Isani.
Good morning,
and
Isani.
happy Monday. It's good to be here with you again on a Monday.
Happy Monday.
Happy Monday. I'm going to put it out there that it's a great Monday just to start the week on a positive note. I know we all kind of tend to mope around when Sunday night comes around because it feels like the weekend is over. I know for you, you had quite a busy weekend as well, yes?
Yes. Eventful in a totally different kind of way.
Yes.
A departure from what I consider eventful when I start off my weekend.
That's true.
But yes, productive perhaps is a better word. But yeah, I'm ready for this week. I'm looking forward to everything that will take place in terms of covering the news, in terms of the topics that we'll have to discuss for the next few days and what have you in Open Our Eyes. So it's going to be exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, speaking of the excitement, let's jump straight into it. We have quite a couple topics to jump on this morning for What's Buzzing. And eye on the news because it is Monday, yes. And as we wait for our bumper, Isani, let's jump straight into it. I know that what was placed online over the weekend really took a lot of people by surprise, and that was the news that a young man was bullied and ultimately sent to the hospital because of being bullied. This is a young man from the St. John's College High School, and I wanted to quickly look back a bit before we jump into the actual story. The last time we would have reported on the news a case of bullying would have been in roughly around July. And that was an incident in Santa Cruz Village where a video surfaced online of a young man being bullied as well. And if you would remember, Isani, that ultimately got the Ministry of Education involved, the police department involved. So this is a little bit reminiscing of what would have taken place earlier this year. Now, it is being reported by way of social media. I believe it's the sibling of the victim of the bullying case. A report that this young man has been bullied for quite some time. Report has been made at the school, and ultimately he would have eventually been harmed and been placed in emergency care at a hospital because of a fracturing of his hip. As I mentioned, this young man comes from the St. John's Junior College here in St. John's College High School here in Belize City, and the sibling is basically saying that an investigation really needs to be brought up by the Ministry of Education and the Board of Directors at this particular high school because there are numerous cases of bullying that has been reported, but nothing has been resolved.
Well, we have to understand what transpired before we get to this part of the conversation, right? So what has seemingly happened is that, notwithstanding previous instances where this young man, a teenager at SJC, was being tormented by his fellow students, colleagues, to an extent, the administration would have failed this young man. I don't know if he reported those previous instances to his teacher, to the principal, to whomsoever is responsible in that institution. I can't speak on that because the statement or the account given by Niall Alvarado does not speak to these complaints being reported. But we're saying that the school has a responsibility to step in when there are reports of any form of bullying, either cyberbullying, bullying in person, whatever shape or form it may manifest itself. And so we're at a point where this incident has happened and a young man has broken his hip because he was shoved by his classmate or whomsoever the individuals are at SJC. And I think what to me stands out the most is, while you have instances of bullying, there has never really been an account where you look at what the financial implications of it are, what the academic implications of it are, and so on. So who fits the bill?
Yeah.
How does this now get resolved? Because let's face it, we're in a society where at present everything is a lawsuit, right? And when you have institutions or persons or authorities or bodies that fail us, then you start looking at where the liability actually falls, right? I want to depart from that aspect of it just for a few and speak from the point of view of a parent. I have 2 children.
Yeah.
One is in high school, the other is in primary school. And as a parent, I personally have the onus and the responsibility of teaching my children not to tease, not to allow being teased, and so on. But it all begins at home, right? The values that you instill in your children growing up is what they will more than likely hold dear to, because this is how you teach, right? And so when I read this thing over the weekend, in a sense I took it personal, simply because it could very well happen to my kids.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't know how to react. And that's a reality. Like, we could talk about it. A lot of people could perhaps could relate to being bullied and what have you. But it's not until you're in that particular situation where you're either the victim or the parent or relative of a victim, right? And then you start looking at it from a different point of view. So I say all of that to say this, right? That as a parent, I took it personal because we're not sending our kids to school to face this kind of situation, right? We're sending our kids to school so that, one, they don't be bullies or they don't be bullied. But above all, is for them to have the overall experience of being educated. That's the whole thing, right? You're not sending them there to come back with a broken hip or being punched in the face or what have you. And the thing about it is that this has been around for as long as I know myself. It's only now that perhaps we're shining that light on it, where it's amplified, but rightly so. Because when we don't talk about it, when we don't address it, it just goes on, right? And you could appreciate in an all-male environment where you have young men who are testosterone, and raging and what have you, that you are going to have instances where, there's teasing and bullying and roughhousing and what have you. But again, it's how it is addressed. So I don't know what SJC will attempt to do with it. I know that they are very closely guarded in how they approach situations and what have you. I don't know what they're going to do, but this exposes exactly what's been happening at the school in terms of these kids and how they interact with each other. So we're hoping that, some address will be given or a statement or something from the school to say that, yes, they are on top of it, and with a view to see how they can remedy this kind of situation.
When I saw the news story over the weekend, I was preparing for the morning show as well. And one of the things that I wrote was bullying, a hidden issue in Belize. And the reason why I wrote that is because I personally do believe that it is hidden. A lot of these kids that are getting bullied, they have the fear of coming out and saying that they're being bullied in the first place because they feel that that will make it worse. When the bully is actually called out, the person being bullied feel like that would put even more of a target on his or her back. And two, Of course, there are institutions who kind of have a laid back approach, thinking that kids aren't necessarily being bullied. A lot of people feel like being bullied is, that textbook idea of they're taking away your lunch or they're throwing your belongings in the trash. No, bullying can literally be saying something mean to you, being rude to you. Of course, there are more extreme instances like the one that we are reporting on this morning. But one of the things that I wanted to point out is that it is, in fact, taking place. I know that high schools normally have their their anti-bullying campaign week. But I think they will definitely need to take a step back and assess how effective these campaigns are. Perhaps have more sessions with the students to really ask if they are being impacted in any way. Have the counselors that I know that are very much present within these schools have sessions that are more tailored towards reducing bullying instances, because ultimately, as I said, Isani, a lot of these cases are either not being reported because of fear of further bullying, or the school simply isn't being as aggressive as it needs to be.
You have to understand that, again, I'm focusing primarily from the point of view of a parent in this situation, right?
Yeah.
You have instances where these bullies, young men or young women, or males or females, they don't know how far their actions go in terms of a ripple effect. So sometimes we pick on each other, we target each other, we bully each other, and then siblings get involved, parents get involved, friends get involved, and when you're dealing with young men, there is the likelihood that some of the bullies are attached to some of these gangs and what have you. And so it creates one of those situations where it could get volatile really quickly.
Yeah.
I can recall an incident perhaps a few weeks or so ago where I was informed of another young man who attends SJC, and he was coming home from school. He lives in the Belize district area. He was coming home from school, to catch the bus at Palote, and either his classmates or someone else from SJC attempted to take his hat. And so he began running. And when he ran into his uncles, explained to his uncles what was happening, and they administered a beating on the bully, right? The bully now says, okay, I'll go for my dad or his parent, and that took place. But when it was explained as to what led to all of that, the dad was left with no other choice but to further discipline his son, right? Now that's a rare occasion, right? Because in our society today,
parents aren't,
nobody enough to touch my picnic. Wrong or right, that's how we think, right? And it, in a sense, goes back to what we've always said, right? It takes a village to raise a child, right? And so that's how the ripple effect of this can go. Because if the dad wasn't as understanding of the situation in that context, that could have gone completely different, right? And they would not have understood, excuse me, exactly where it happened from and how it escalated so quickly, right? And that's the thing about it. Like I said, there's an argument to be had where some people are saying, well, sometimes kids need to grow tougher skin. But how tough is tough? Because at the end of the day, if you're coming home injured, or you're coming home mentally, abused because of what is happening there,
or not wanting to go to school,
so
skipping school. And we've seen the extent of how bad this can be in other parts of the world, Isani, when we look at the education system in the United States and the multiple reports of gun violence where kids are taking part in mass school shootings. I think it's important for us to recognize that this matter here in Belize can be a lot more worse if we don't take control of it now. Well, moving into our next topic of discussion this morning, I know that there was a report made yesterday of a robbery that took place in a home of a well-known individual, on a well-known social media influencer. She was robbed and taken some of her belongings amounting to over $5,000.
This one is an interesting one.
Yeah.
I don't know. When I read the report and I found out who the victim was, I sort of scratched my head. I'm still scratching my head. This is an individual who has a huge following online for what some of us would describe as for all the wrong reasons, right? But it does not mean that she doesn't have a sense of dignity. Because when you rob someone, it's almost as if you're taking that away from them as well. And it in my mind, it also speaks to the fact that we need to be more mindful of our online activities and what have you. Because in other jurisdictions, when you're doing certain activities online, your location, your live location is prominently displayed. And that gives people the idea, okay, well, I know where to find him, I know where to find her right now. And so it just so happened that she was live when this incident transpired. Now, I don't know if whoever were logged in and were following her in that particular moment saw it as it happened. I don't know. But it's just one of those situations where when it made the report yesterday, I was like, wow. You know, and I think a lot of people are still scratching their heads with that one.
Yeah, for me, what it kind of made me think of is how mindful we need to be of our social media presence and the care and the caution that we need to take when we are showcasing our location. For a lot of people, you know, their social media presence, and I'm saying more on the influencer side, they need to recognize that there are a lot of strange people that are following them from here in Belize and in other parts of the world. Stalkers are a very real thing as well. And I'm not saying that this would have been the case for this young lady, but I know for certain that you kind of put yourself in a vulnerable place when you display your personal life on social media. So it's very important that you take extra caution. I can't imagine what that experience must have been like. Apparently she was tied up, she was gagged.
To say the least, it's traumatizing.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
And speaking of social media, you know, so there are a lot of people who commented on it as well. And it goes to show how insensitive people are, because notwithstanding the activity that she may have been engaged in at the time when this thing happened, she's human just like any one of us.
Exactly.
And so to be tied up and robbed,
a gun to your head,
at gunpoint, is no laughing matter. So in a sense, if you don't have anything better to say, just shut up, just leave it as it is.
Yeah.
But to start commenting negative or hate speech and what have you, what's the point of it?
Yeah.
You know?
Thankfully, they would have just walking away with things that can be replaced. She's still here with us. As far as we know, there wasn't any real extensive harm caused to her. I think ultimately, as you mentioned, this is just a traumatic experience that she can hopefully move from.
Yeah.
But our last topic this morning, Isani, is a bit more on the political front.
Yeah, so it's always politics time, right? Unfortunately, we're not discussing the politics of two of the mass political organizations. It's always, at this point, one organization.
Yeah.
And it's what's been happening within the UDP. And there was a motion passed by the National Party Council, which is one of the bodies within the United Democratic Party. And this would have taken place on the 4th of October, right? Where the NPC essentially affirmed various positions taken by the chair of the United Democratic Party and, of course, the support for the party leader. Now, all of this is in the context of unity convention slated for October 20th to be
Yes.
held by the Alliance for Democracy, which maintains firmly that it is still a part of the United Democratic Party. And the United Democratic Party proper, if I could use that description, is saying, look, these four individuals who formed the Alliance for Democracy have been expelled from the party.
They're not even a part of the party. Yeah.
And so their actions or their activity or their plan is not recognized by the party. And so when they, prior to the motion being passed, essentially a vote was taken. And so they had 17 standard bearers and area representatives among those who participated in the vote to form a quorum, and then they proceeded to the actual decision being taken to affirm these positions, right? And so this is where we are, if I could just summarize it as such. We're yet to see what happens now in respect of this scheduled activity to be held by the Alliance for Democracy. But yes, it's one of those moments in the history of the party. And what I want to do to be a bit more direct is to read from the actual motion that was passed on the 4th of October. It goes as follows. The National Party Council again affirms the decision of the National Convention held on August 13th, 2023, as we did in our April 7th, 2024 resolution. The party leader Shine Barrow, Deputy Party Leader Hugo Pat, Party Chairman Michael Perfit, and Deputy Party Chairman Alberto August are elected to serve until the National Convention to be held immediately after the next general election. The National Party Council supports the party chairman Michael Perfit's adherence to the National Convention decision of August 13, 2023 and NPC resolution of April 4th, 2024, which compelled him to reject the petitions that came before him, attempting to disturb the decisions of the National Convention and National Party Council. The National Party Council fully supports the Central Executive decision of August 28, 2024 in relation to John Saldivar, Tracy Panton, Patrick Farber, and Beverly Williams, as per the NPC resolutions of August 20th, 2022 and May 27th, 2023. The National Party Council fully supports the June 21st, 2024 and August 6, 2024 decisions of the Central Executive in relation to Philip Willoughby and Andrew Bradley, in keeping with our overall reform and general elections readiness policies. The National Party Council condemns the lies, defamation, and personal attacks against our duly elected party leader, Shine Barrow, Deputy Party Leader Hugo Pat, Party Chairman Michael Perfit, and Deputy Party Chairman Alberto August, and other party officials. Lastly, from what I'm reading, the National Party Council also asks all members and supporters to join in this condemnation and disassociate yourselves from all those engaged in such reprehensible behavior. And of course, it goes on.
It goes
from
longer,
there. That's
yes.
just an excerpt speaking to specifically what we're touching on. So that's the position of the NPC.
Have we heard any responses from the members of the alliance since?
Not just yet.
Okay.
Not just yet. I know that.
I know they're very active on social media, though.
Yes. I haven't had an opportunity, or our newsroom hasn't had an opportunity to sit with them after this motion. But I spoke with the two members of the alliance on Tuesday and Wednesday of last week. I'm sorry, on Wednesday and Thursday of last week, where we were able to touch on a number of issues, but this hadn't come up just yet, right? So we're hoping to get some response from them later on today, if not sometime in this week.
Well, of course, we will be providing an extensive report on that as soon as it is provided. Now, Isani, I believe that does it for our Eye on the News segment this morning. Yes? Moving now into our eye opener for your daily dose of morning motivation. And our eye opener is taken from Daily DailyOn.com, and it goes like this. Things happen in our lives for a reason, even if that reason is not clear to you right away. When events appear to fit together perfectly in our lives, it may seem at first that they are random occurrences, things that are the result of coincidence. These synchronous happenings, though, are much more than that, for if we look at them more closely, they can show us that the universe is listening to us and gently communicating with us. Learning to pay attention and link the things that occur on a daily basis can be a way for us to become more attuned to the fact that most everything happens in our lives for a reason. When we realize that things often go more smoothly than we can ever imagine, it allows us to take the time to reflect on the patterns in our lives. Even events that might not at first seem to be related to each other are indicators that the universe is working with us, not against us. We need to be willing to look more closely at the bigger picture, accepting and having confidence in the fact that there is more to our experiences than immediately meets the eye. Being open to synchronicity also means that we have to understand that our lives are filled with both positive and negative events.
Everything happens for a reason. I think
Yeah.
that's the underlying theme. In some instances, we're not able to explain why things happen the way they do.
Yeah.
But in time, we begin to understand, okay, this is how that event fits into the bigger picture, you know? And a lot of times we grapple with that because in our mind, more often than not, we have a plan for how things should take place. And when it doesn't take place in the manner in which we're expecting it, we're like, what happened?
Yeah.
And you sulk in the disappointment of it. But further down the road, you realize, okay, this is why it happened. And what were the lessons or the takeaway? That's how we begin to appreciate certain experiences.
Absolutely. You couldn't have said it any better. I couldn't have said it any better either. There's a saying that goes that God laughs at us when we tell him his plans. And I think in an instance like this particular eye-opener, it's when we plan too much, that's when we get a bit disappointed when things don't exactly go the way we would have envisioned. But you are right. Everything happens the way that it should. And even if it goes against what you may have had planned in your mind, it all comes together for the greater good, I personally believe. And if that good feels uncomfortable, even that is for the greater good as well. You will be growing. You will be learning from your particular experiences as well. But we got to move into our weather update. I know there are systems that we are currently monitoring, including a tropical storm that might have developed into a hurricane by now. That is Milton in the Gulf of Mexico. But we will be getting that official update from the folks at the Met Service.
Relatively moist and unstable conditions prevail and will support cloudy spells today and tonight. A few showers and isolated thunderstorms will develop around the country today and mainly over southern and coastal areas tonight. In the outlook for Tuesday and Tuesday night, only isolated showers or thunderstorms will develop. Winds today along the coast and over the open seas will be light and variable, and seas will be slight. Low tides will occur at 6:57 this morning and 6:04 tonight. High tides follow at 1:06 this afternoon and 12:04 tomorrow morning. Temperatures this afternoon will peak at 82 Fahrenheit up in the Maya Mountains, 90 along the coast and 95 inland. The sun will set at 5:36 this evening, followed by the moon at 8:53 tonight. In the sargassum forecast, sargassum amounts are expected to remain low with only minimal impacts, if any, during the next 1 to 2 weeks. In the tropical weather update, at 3 o'clock this morning, Hurricane Leslie was about 1,065 miles west of the southernmost Cabo Verde Islands. Leslie was moving to the northwest at 13 miles per hour with maximum sustained winds of 90 miles per hour. At the same time, Hurricane Kirk was about 765 miles west-northwest of the Azores. Kirk was moving to the northeast at 30 miles per hour with maximum sustained winds of 75 miles per hour. At 6 o'clock this morning, Hurricane Milton was near 21.8 north, 92.2 west, or about 745 miles west-southwest of Tampa, Florida. Milton was moving to the east-southeast at 8 miles per hour with maximum sustained winds of 125 miles per hour. That's the latest from the Belize Weather Bureau. Do have a pleasant day.
All right, there you have it, the official update from the folks at the Met Service. Moving now into our show lineup, we have two wonderful conversations to look forward to. In our first and second segment, we'll be joined by the Prime Minister of Belize, the Honorable John Briceño, and he'll be talking to us about a range of topics related to Belize's development.
Our second conversation has to do with mental health. It's how to prioritize mental health in the workplace.
Wonderful. Well, we got to take our first break, and when we come back, we'll be joined by the Prime Minister, the Honorable John Briceño. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Lain ka ba Elmer Shua? Ay join jik ahelak sa Ecopal Tree Lodge. Keronik ahelan ay lain sa Ecopal, kakui bartending, kakui an keronik mano lain. Lain ni usara Belize Bank mobile app. Hanak na usara uta ana ATM, uting card. Araw kay balbas changkiron sa usara ut kolore na notification chira phone na mensajes. Araw ta na kolore, ta kala harup chitumin sa usara. Ut araw ta na nak sa chabilo kong gatumin.
Gentlemen, this is what you've been waiting for. In this corner, we have the masters of limitless power and unbeatable connection. Pioneers of 4G LTE in Belize. It's the undefeated champion, Smart. And in the other corner, struggling to keep up, it's the other guy. Fight! Getting blow after blow from a plan with the other guys? It's time to tap out and join the winning postpaid plan provider. Smart's postpaid plans are a total knockout to the competition, and they have once again powered up their postpaid plans. Sign up for one of Smart's boosted postpaid power plans today and experience the victory of superior service. Smart, bringing people together.
Technology is ubiquitous, and it's transforming how, when, and where we work. Fulltech Systems is placing award-winning devices in the hands of information workers, allowing them to work without compromise in a world without wires, to innovate, create, and to maximize productivity anytime, anywhere, satisfying the needs of the desk-centric remote and field worker and every other worker in between. We are providing the industry's best devices to businesses going through the process of digital transformation. Partner with us today to provide the solutions that will allow your employees to work effectively and efficiently to enhance your customers' experience. Fulltech Systems, your technology center, where you'll come for the price but stay for the service.
Whether you're enjoying the outdoors,
Woo. Finally here at the Fort George Hotel and Spa. This is nice.
or stuck in the office,
How can I help you today?
when it comes to finding the perfect frames and lens for your eyes, what you do makes all the difference. Elevate your eye vision. Choose eyewear that reflects your lifestyle. Quartz Optical. Value you can see.
welcome back. Joining us for our first conversation this morning is the Prime Minister of Belize, the Honorable John Briceño. Good morning,
Good
PM.
morning, PM.
Good morning to both of you. It's always good to be here. I know kind of sometimes because of my scheduling, it's kind of difficult. But here we are, thanks.
You're a busy guy, so it's understood that your schedule will always be chock full.
Well, today was a little bit easier because I spent the night here. I had something else to do outside of Belize City. So instead of driving all the way to
Orange Rock.
Rock, I spent the night here. So
All right. No wonder you're early, that's good.
Late at night they prepare, but at least you have to wake up like before 5 o'clock, and then that traffic.
Yeah.
And then sometimes you have to be trying to see if you could weave your way through the traffic to get here.
Yeah. I can relate. I live out district as well, technically.
There's no such thing as out district. The
Yes.
surprise is always correct everybody. There's no such out district. There are other districts, but that out district.
Okay. Out of the Belize
Out of
district.
Belize district.
PM, let's jump into, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Let's jump into a couple of conversations that we have lined up while we have you with us this morning. You're recently back from Mexico,
Right.
where you attended the installation of President Sheinbaum. I think coming out of that was, for us as Belizeans, a need for reassurance, if we could describe it as such, regarding energy. I know the transition from President AMLO to President Sheinbaum was one of the questions as to whether or not whatever we have in place with Mexico where energy is concerned remains on the table and will be honored by the incoming president. Perhaps we can start there.
Well, certainly. This is my the first time I spoke with her, with President Sheinbaum, was when she was elected the first time, and I was asked to because I had already said when I met with President Lopez Obrador, I said, I'd love to congratulate her when she wins, and so I was immediately, on the day I was given a number, so as soon as it was official, I called her. And very quickly, we just said, hey, we're doing these things. And he said, listen, don't worry about anything. Everything's going to continue. Whatever President Lopez Obrador started, we're going to finish it. Fast forward to last week, Tuesday, we didn't have a lot of time to speak. Obviously, it's a very busy day. It was a historic day. It was an emotional day. When President Lopez Obrador walked into the Congress, you could see all the crowd, they were just shouting and touching him, wanting pictures. And then the same thing happened when she came in. And to see, somebody mentioned that President Lopez Obrador looked like a very proud father passing over, the official sash or ribbon to President Sheinbaum, everybody knows as Claudia. So historic, so emotional, people behave. After that service, because you can't get a lot of guests inside, because it's in the Congress, and so they only have a little bit of the galleries on top, at the top, looking down. We then met afterwards briefly, take pictures, spoke quickly, and again she reassured me. Says, don't worry, Prime Minister, the work that you started with President Lopez Obrador, we are going to continue. We're the same party, same policies, and build on top of what we did. We had a lunch, and then when I went to tell her that I'm leaving, again, she reassured me. So I feel fairly confident that things are going to work out based on what we had agreed with President AMLO. Actually, he said that once they kick in, they're building 2 new plants of about, I think it's about 1.2 gigawatts of electricity in the region. And he said we could bump you up to 80 megawatts if you want. And we said, well, I remember CEO Jan Mencil was like, whoa, we never had so much. Actually, we were only limited, I think, about 55, and we got to the 60 this time. I had a meeting with the new Secretary of Energy. Remember, the first name is Luz.
Elena Gonzalez Escobar.
Exactamente.
Yes.
Thank you, you have it there. Just remember the light. And I met with her, it was her first day in the office that morning, along with the technical people from CFE. The new secretary or the new CEO had to go down to Acapulco because they had problems there, flooding, hurricane, to see what they need to be able to get electricity back to the people. Again, we spoke on the importance of keeping the lights on. I made the point that Belize, our economy has been growing very fast. As you know, this first semester, we had about 10% GDP growth. And we've become victims of our own success because now we're using electricity that was projected for 2028 in 2024. Of course, when you add the issues of climate change and this phenomenon where you had this heat wave coming through Belize, something honestly I've never experienced it before.
It's new to many of us.
And maybe you'd get hot one day, but to have it consistently for several weeks.
Heat waves are extensive.
So then people then started using more ACs and people buying ACs that did not have. So we said our call centers or hotels, they depend on having a reliable source of energy. But now, so what have we been doing? We have been doing a number of things. We pretty soon BL will be making bids for proposals. I think they've already done one. We'll be meeting and going through the RFP, the process, as to how you bid for electricity. On Wednesday, we have another meeting, which I would share along with BL and PUC and the Ministry of Energy. And we made the point to them that for a growing economy and for Belize, that we're really just making a name for ourselves. Never people didn't look at Belize. It is important to keep the lights on. There's a group in Belize right now that they've been talking to another company outside of Belize that they have these ships that have these huge plants. So they're saying that they can contract this. They have already signed an agreement with this group, and they can bring the boat, but the boat produces 80 megawatts. We can't use it. A good thing about the agreement that we have with CFE, we can buy and we can sell. So our idea was to go to them and pitch the idea, listen, it will be far easier for Belize to bring the ship to Belize. We use what we need and then we send over the rest to you at a very small margin to pay for the expenses. And they were quite excited because like us, the Quintana Roo depends pretty much solely on tourism. Last year they had over 18 million visitors, so they can't afford the blackouts just like us. So we had a very good meeting. We set up a team that will comprise people from BL, Ministry of Energy, Ministry of Finance, I think PUC, to meet with their technical people now to start to work out how we can do this. They need electricity, energy just like us. So we need to find how we can address this issue.
In all of what you're saying, PM, and I respect the fact and acknowledge the fact that we are exploring other options to be able to keep the lights on as you've described, but I'm not necessarily hearing energy self-sufficiency.
Come on, you're missing the whole point.
Okay.
Respectfully. Right now we have to do today, which is this. We have a number of projects coming online with solar. We already have the 20 megawatt generator in San Pedro. Once we get that generator going, I think we'll be right there at the edge, avoiding the blackouts. But it's more expensive because it's diesel. It can also do natural gas, but we don't have the facilities of the natural gas there, and this is only a temporary fix to get us out of this crisis. I don't want to sound too alarmist, but this shortage of electricity. Once that is done, we're going to move it into another part of the country, because also we need to keep the electricity stable, and because when you have solar, it fluctuates, so you have to have a battery bank, which we're investing $100 million on that, funding through the World Bank, and also getting some funding from the MCC compact that we signed. Remember, 20% of the $125 million US, or the $250 million Belize, is going to be spent also on energy.
Energy.
And that's, apart from looking at the regulations and how we run, that is going to be a part of it. So we are working not only to be sustainable, but also we want to be able to export. And I met the two groups. One is the legacy group. The legacy group has over 10,000 employees, and they have casinos, they have hotels, they're in the energy production, transportation of fuel, and so forth. And I met with them. They just bought the franchise for this universe, by the way. And in the discussions, they wanted to talk about it. They're looking at Belize if we could buy fuel, what we can do. But they became excited when I was telling them, because they're also in solar, in the northern part of Mexico. I told them, listen, when you look at Belize, don't look Belize, look at Central America, look at Guatemala, Mexico, look at the Caribbean. And that's, I said, presently we have an agreement with CFE. I said, we buy from them, but we could also sell. And that's when you could see, immediately get excited when we could come, it's easier to come and put your installations here and sell. And also then, when I said the government owns the port now, we bought over the port. And they made, wow, we could set up a depot here, put the fuel here, and then sell to southern Mexico, because it's closer than Houston and other places. So they believe that there can be things done. I spoke the day before, on the same Tuesday night. I met this young man from the Garza family. They are going to be providing the electricity for the Four Seasons. And their plan is they just want to meet because it's a big investment, they want to do it. I'm talking about the possibility of maybe they could sell electricity to Kikaka. So I explained to him, you have Kichapel, Kikaka, and San Pedro, or Ambergris Key. And with submarine cables, you could easily do that. And again, I said, but look at Mexico. Listen, we have this agreement. And they were planning to come like around December, but now they want to fast track probably sometime this month or early next month to come and look at Belize, because part of their investments also, they build transmission lines, especially in the north where you have a lot of private producers of electricity, and they need to get on the transmission line to CFC to distribute. He says, I said, well, right now the transmission line that we have, in the next few years we're going to max it out. We need to build another transmission line. And immediately says, that's something we do. We could come and look, and maybe we can build a transmission line and then we lease it out, as opposed to BL or government putting the money. So there's a lot of opportunities, a lot of excitement about Belize. And so we're working on the issues of energy. We recognize how critical, how important this is for all of us. And we've worked so hard in such a short time, in 4 years, to be able to get us where we are, and we can't afford to go back because of the challenges of energy.
PM, what I'm hearing is that there are a lot of investments that are currently in place for next year, starting as early as now, that could potentially reduce the load shedding issue that a lot of us here have been enduring. Sorry? I can't even repeat it. But what I really want to do is to give our viewers that sense of assurance that this timeline will be taking place very quickly, if it is even going to take place quickly, because ultimately, PM, I'm hearing a lot of positives from investments and the way that Belize is perceived as a country that they can benefit from, the Central American region as well as the Caribbean. But viewers, persons watching at home and at work, they just don't want the lights to be shut off, PM.
I understand fully. Yes, I understand fully. But again, you have to remember, CEO Bensia said this is a problem that started off way back in 2013, when the government back then should have started to make plans to start to have new sources of more energy. And there's been this back and forth between BL and PUC, like loggerheads all the time. They've been fighting, and this have to stop. So what we've been doing, and it continued in our government, it's almost perceived as a part of their culture. So what we have been doing since earlier this year, I have organized meetings with from my ministry with I usually have Chris and NARA, Ms. Garcia, to meet with the two groups so that they don't go after each other and start to address these issues. Remember from last year, which was what, that was 2 years ago, we signed off on a loan to do 60 megawatts of energy. The kickback has been, because it comes from the Saudi fund, we have to go through them, and now right now we're in the bidding process of the actual building, and we hope that before the end of next year, we'll start with the first 20 megawatts of energy. Again, the challenge is, and I'll be very frank, that PEL saw the problem that, hey, we are going to run off electricity. So they have been putting a lot of efforts in looking at energy generation as opposed to their mandate is transmission and distribution. But now that we've come on board and we have come with a new vision and a hands-on as to what needs to get done, we have said, listen, you concentrate on that. We're going to make sure we could work on getting energy, that we can start to produce more energy, and that's what we've been doing. Unfortunately, it's a long process. It's not like you go to the neighborhood shop and buy one solar light and it works. It requires a lot more. We are doing everything we possibly can to get this going, and we believe that we'll be able to meet the demands in the coming year, this coming year, 2025, and certainly by 2026, new investments will already kick in that will be able to be self-sufficient with mostly renewable sources of energy.
Allow me to go in a slightly different direction, but nonetheless related to our consumption of energy. Let's talk about the economy and economic development. Simply because while we boast of an uptick in our economy's performance, you still have pockets of our society that may not necessarily be feeling this particular success, that you have employment related to it, you have economic activity where they are and what have you. Let's talk about that from a broader perspective, and then we could zero into certain areas.
That is certainly always a challenge. Look at what we have done. When we raised the minimum wage to $5, over 30,000 Belizeans got a pay raise. That move alone moved all of these people out of this poverty line. I'm not saying that they're rich or they're no longer poor, but they have a lot of catching up to do. When we increased the minimum wage, then what happened to the private sector? They had to raise salaries. They had to raise wages. I remember talking to one of the biggest companies in Belize, and the person told me, no, level entry for them is now $8 and $9. So I said a rising tide rises all boats. But unfortunately, some people don't have the skill sets, and that's the reality. And some people don't want to go and work at a farm. We need cane cutters. People in agriculture tell you we need more workers, but and for whatever reason, and not knocking it, they don't want to work at a farm. They want to work in an office, they want to work in AC, they want to, and that's okay. That's you decide that, but it's your decision. There are jobs available. On Saturday night, and I usually do this. We had one very, very late lunch, and then so at night it was and I just talk. I need something very light earlier, and after 9, I said, I feel like buying tacos, right? And she said, yes. So I went back. Called my cousin. We went to. And while I was there waiting for the tacos to take over, and I usually do it, This young man comes to me, says, "What is that, Johnny?" He said, "Long time no see. What do you want to talk?" Well, you don't got a job for giving me. I said, "Well, you want to work for government? There's so many opportunities. You have people in call centers, you have in tourism, you have in construction, you have in agriculture, you have all of these opportunities that you could get a job or." with the MSMEs, is what we're doing, you could open your own business. And so he, and he said, no, you're right. And sometimes we don't think about it. So the vast majority of people are working. It's last, the people that want to work, only 3%, we have only 3% unemployment rate. But we have about over 40% of women that don't work. Most of the time is because somebody has to be the caregiver, they have to take care of the children. What we call centers are allowing you to work from home. Now more and more of them are working. So there are things that we have to do, and we're doing exactly through, especially through the Ministry of Education, through the through Beltrade with the MSME, where we wrote map the other day, and whereby we went to the actual towns to present to them and hear them out what you can do, what you can strengthen, all the opportunities we're giving to small businesses. Now they could apply for a development concession up to $1 million over 4 years, and trying to see how we could get them to have access to some of, I think, 20% of government services and purchases. So there's so much that's happening, but sometimes people are not fully aware, and some don't have the skill sets. So we have to be able to work with them to provide that for them.
I want to stick on that same point, PM, because you mentioned something that I think is really important for us to bring up, and that is the booming BPO industry. You made a point that many young people are considering that avenue when they go into the workplace. But we are also looking at the rise of the BPO industry as one of those instances where young people are avoiding working in farming industry, the agriculture industry, and even entry-level jobs, so to speak, as well. What are your thoughts on what the BPO industry now represents as we are seeing these entry-level jobs not being as attractive as they once were?
Well, the BPOs have been a game changer. The BPOs have exploded in growth. Maybe about, when we just got in, there was, I think, about 1,500 people working. Right now we've going to over 17,000. And why do they come to Belize? They come to Belize because of our young population, we're bilingual, we're fairly well educated, you know. Sometimes we knock ourselves too hard. We don't realize the tremendous skills and talent that our young people have. And so now these BPOs now are starting to go up the value chain now. They're not just answer the phone, but actually provide services, trying to do accounting, troubleshooting, you know. So it's
the whole company, you need IT departments, everything.
And it's increasing, and the salaries are getting even better.
They are. A lot of these BPO persons are paying income tax, PM.
Yes, they are, and that's why we use it. Now what we have done, we've increased the threshold to 30,000. So that in itself, over 5,000 people are going to be benefiting from that. We're doing a lot of stuff. And the BPOs, but I tell people too that you could also use the BPO as a stepping stone. You go there, you have a good job, and then look around. If there's something else better, then you go, if that's what you want. A few months ago, Minister of Labor and Immigration jointly, we presented a paper to Cabinet, whereby now that we'll be able, we're wanting to make it easier to provide temporary seasonal workers that can come into work and then they leave. And we're doing we're computerizing the whole system. So now employers no longer have to go to immigration department and to the labor department. They do it online. We should launch that. It's pretty much finished. Just trying to make sure it works properly. You, for instance, if you are launching it with Isani, and say you're hiring me and I live in Mexico, you put in all the documents. Labor has 1 week to yes or no, and once that goes to immigration has 2 weeks to approve it. Once that is done, all of that is done electronically. Then you get your notice, you send it to me, and say you could show up, bring your paper. I show up to any of the border entries. It's going to be in a system that I have a work permit to come in, and they give me the visa, I come in. Once I start to, then immediately as I come in, a message is sent to Social Security and to BTS, Belize Tax Services, that John Bresciano is coming to work for Isani Cayetano. And now, so now you, Isani, have 30 days to go and register me. whereas then they are going to come at you because, well, you have not registered. So we're using technology to be able to be more effective and more efficient and to address the issues.
Let's go back a bit, PM, with the adjustment of the income tax regime, if I could describe it as such. You made that announcement during your State of the Nation address recently. And when we look at the cumulative numbers of persons who are to benefit from that, some would argue that it's a drop in the bucket. If you look at 3,000 some odd people who are the immediate beneficiaries of this adjustment versus the overall size of the workforce, some people would say that it's nominal.
It's 3,000 more. Actually, it's 5,000. And these are the preliminary numbers that we're looking at. As more and more people come to work in the BPO and so forth, we're going to be able to see exactly how many people are going to affect. We're going to positively benefit from it. But look on the bright side. Then that means we have less people working for less than $30,000, don't you think? We should look on that. Imagine how many people are earning more than $30,000 a year, as opposed to say, oh, they only just leave it. The point is that with the adjustments that we're doing, I remember back when former Prime Minister presented to the House what they were doing, the amendments. And I worked several cases to point out to us, say, listen, this is a glitter but no substance, because people ended up paying more taxes. Because once you reach to 26,000, you hit the threshold, then you start to pay at just below 20. So you lose all of these exemptions. It meant nothing. There are instances when your pay raise would take you into another bracket, and the tax is so high that it's not worth it, because you're paying either everything that you earn to the tax, or you pay even more. So we have made that adjustment. We have made that adjustment to avoid that from happening. So that is what we wish. That is just the first step. Our plan, again, as I said, Plan Belize is a transformative document. It's not just look at a 5-year manifesto. It's talking about 15, 20 years from now. We're talking about getting rid of poverty, reducing our export or deficit by 50%. These are things that take time to be able to address. But our plan is to eventually erase or ease out from income tax, or at the very least take it up to a very high threshold, probably 75,000 or more. But the ideal situation is to remove that, and then as the economic growth, then find where else we could be able to get the funds or the monies, because we do need the money. Please, let's not forget that.
And that's the fear that I hear from a lot of people who once celebrated the raising of the income tax, but also questioned whether there would be some catch.
No, there's going to be no catches.
Like, we have to pay it in our groceries, we have to pay it in our fuel.
But okay, the groceries, most of it don't pay taxes.
Okay.
It is, as I said, I've tried to explain over and over and over. Inflation is imported into Belize. Unfortunately, what has happened is that we have a lot of unscrupulous retailers. It's not even at the wholesale, The wholesale is a cutthroat business. They are lowering the price to be able to get the sale. But the grocers, the retailers, they hold on to it. They don't pass it on. And of course, there are many issues of the probably underreporting of GST and so forth, which again we're working right now, because the idea, next probably year or two, working with Ms. Langsworth, we're going to be computerizing, so we could computerize what comes in from customs, what is sold, what goes to the store, so we could track it to ensure that we could be able to collect taxes. So no, there's no catch to it. The economy continues to grow, but we need the money. So I can't come to you and say, oh, no, we're a magic wand. No, but there's no catch to it.
Okay.
I think what naturally flows from that topic is the issue of inflation. Now, you've said that inflation has gone down by percentage when you compare it to previous years. But when we do an informal poll with the everyman out there, they will tell you, look, we're still feeling the cost of living to be high, and we're still grappling with that. How do you respond to that? Because that's a real everyday concern.
Trust me, I know. Once I don't go buy at the store, my wife Rosanna was a complaint, hey, the money we have, it's tight because of the cost. So I understand. But the frustration is that our hands are tied to a large extent because we don't produce these things, we import them. And the little that we produce, we have to import a lot of the materials that we need. So it's not that we're in deaf ears. When we're saying that the inflation is falling, it's falling based of 12 months ago. The United States is going through the same issue. Every country in the world faces the same issue. The United States has one of the healthiest economies in the world. They have done extremely well. Last month, they expected they were going to have, I think, about 125,000 jobs. They end up having over 100,000, over 200,000. But yet, when you ask Americans, they will tell you, oh, things bad, things don't go good. So it's a mental issue, and yes, your pocket, because we've never been like rich like like the United States. So I feel it, and I know, and I wish we could do more. And we do everything that we can. We try to go after these people that are trying to rip off our consumers. We try to do things like raising the minimum wage, these income tax, different little things here and there. We are doing as best as we possibly can. The point is that the inflation rate is starting to go down, but people still compare to where it was in 2020 when the whole world was turned upside down and there was disruptions and prices go up and it's difficult for them to come down. So I want to do more. We want to be able to find ways how we could continue to bring in more investments and so salaries can continue to go up. The Four Seasons, when that kicks off, is going to be a game changer in Belize. The Four Seasons is one of the top lines of hotels in the world, luxury hotels. And when they're telling me, they want to be able to set up a school in Belize to train our people properly. When the people that go there they're very wealthy, so they'll be paying a lot of money, a lot of tips. We are doing our part to be able to help, but unfortunately, we don't control the cost of the goods that are coming into Belize.
PM, I want to flesh out two additional topics from my end while we have you here with us. One, State Bank, and two, we go back to the FOIA request for information from the government regarding the university hospital land purchase. So let's go State Bank first.
Let me go to the second one, which we could easily answer very quickly. We don't give you everything there is to give. Honestly, that you remind me of when the social partners, the senators want to have this whole inquest into if anything wrong. When he said nothing happened, we didn't do anything. We have given all information, and we are going to release the technical report. I hope we could get it done this week. So you'll get that. Enough?
Allow me to follow up quickly then. The reason I'm asking is because we know that traditionally Freedom of Information Act requests or FOIA requests are the most frustrating processes to be able to request information from government. Everything is done to frustrate this whole thing. And so I'm asking simply because that request has formally been made, and I know that in previous instances, other organizations have made similar requests and they didn't really receive what they were asking for. So in respect of the university hospital and the land that was purchased, you're saying to us essentially that the technical report will be submitted in short order?
Yes.
Fair enough. Let's go back to State Bank then, where there's also a lawsuit before the court regarding the compulsory acquisition of the 23 acres of land. And the owner is essentially saying that he wants a particular sum for the overall 23 acres of land. And of course, he wants $1.25, if I'm not mistaken, in head tax in perpetuity.
So you think he's serious to sell?
Well, I'm not sure where he stands on that. He has placed that on the record that that's what he's asking for. I am asking you, where does your government, where does your administration stand on that outside of what is taking place before the court?
Well, first of all, when there are issues with courts, you have to be careful what you talk, what you say. I don't want to prejudice the case in any way whatsoever. All we've been trying to do is to be an honest broker. Here is a massive investment. It's becoming an eyesore because nothing is happening there. And the longer we take to settle this, the worse it's going to get. As it is, I think they've already have about almost 3 acres of erosion in the washway, because nobody's there to put in the sea walls and to protect it and so forth. I've been told, I've not been there, I've been there only once with one of the save the local investor when you went to show me, and you could see it's a massive investment. So in all of these buildings, if you don't take care of it, rust is going to get in, it's going to go to nothing. I think we as a responsible government, it's a huge investment. If it was 2 people fighting over us, a way smaller investment, of course we're not going to get involved. But remember, successive governments have said that this project is in the national interest of Belize. When it came this started off way back under the PUP, the Musa government, when they came with a plan and to present they came to the plan to say, well, we want to purchase this because we want to do this cruise port, which was it's still very important. And we agreed to it. The UDP government, in 2 occasions, came to the House, passed legislation saying that they were Belize to support it because it's on the national interest. Fast forward to our time now. Here's a dispute over a project that successive governments have said is in the national interest of Belize. We got involved as honest brokers, trying to find a compromise between the 2 groups. But they can't come to an agreement. I don't want to prejudice or give my how I feel about it, but they can't come to a compromise. So now here comes the investors that really have the money, that they are the ones that put up the money, most of the money, come to us, well, we can't come to an agreement. Now we have MSC, one of the largest
The
cruise lines, and also they do container. They move container, the largest company to move containers around the world. They have over 200,000 people working. They're saying, well, no, we'd be interested, but we don't want to get into this mess. The only way we'd be interested if this mess is settled and we buy over them. So that the only way we can do that is by compulsory acquiring the land. In cabinet, we had a long discussion, and the agreement was that the government and people of Belize must be protected from any lawsuits, that if there's any lawsuits, taxpayers will not pay a single dollar, a single dime.
A sort of like an indemnity.
So I'm coming to the point. So based on that, we decided we want an indemnity, and also not only the indemnity, but also they made a deposit of about $7 million in the name of Belize, of the government of Belize, at the Atlantic Bank. So once we felt that we went through the indemnity, we had our lawyers going back and forth to ensure that it's a solid indemnity that can pull out from it. We said, okay, we're going to proceed. We put out the notice, and so the notice basically to tell the owner, come, we want to acquire it. Can we come to an agreement? Same terms, so obviously it's not happening. Now they went to court again, and well, we have to wait what the court is going to say on this matter. And at the same time, MSC, well, we're hoping now, MSC has come to Belize. I met with them here, Albino and 2 other persons, top people from MSC, and said they're excited. They came for the first time to Belize, and they flew by helicopter and looked at the Blue Hole, the reef, the country. And there he says, you guys have one of the most beautiful countries. We want in. We spoke to them about the port of Belize, and they say, well, we're prepared to do this and also import and consider investing in the container portion of the port. So exciting things are coming, but we need to get things done. We need to solve these problems to be able to go to the next point.
PM, thank you so much for the time you've taken so far with us, but we do want to take a really quick break, and when we come back, we will be continuing our discussion. Sure. All right, we are going to take another quick break, as we mentioned, and when we come back, we have more with the Prime Minister of Belize, the Honorable John Briceño.
Take control with My Social Security, your secure online account to manage all your Social Security information. To create a My Social Security account, you must be 14 years or older and have a valid email address. Visit the My Social Security self-service portal at ssbportal.org.bz. Click on Create Account. Enter your date of birth and phone number. Next, verify your email address to continue. To verify, simply enter your email address and click the Send Verification button. Enter the verification code sent to your email inbox to proceed. Next, create a password that meets the requirements. Enter the name and select a reason for your account. Then click Create. Your My Social Security account was successfully created. Your information security is our priority. If you have a Social Security number, click Link My SSN to link your Social Security number to your account and activate using the steps in your confirmation email. If you do not have a Social Security number, click Register with SSB. You are now ready to truly experience Social Security at your fingertips.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is what you've been waiting for. In this corner, we have the masters of limitless power and unbeatable connection. Pioneers of 4G LTE in Belize. It's the undefeated champion, Smart. And in the other corner, struggling to keep up, it's the other guy. Fight! Tired of getting blow after blow from a plan with the other guys? It's time to tap out and join the winning postpaid plan provider. Smart's postpaid plans are a total knockout to the competition, and they have once again powered up their postpaid plans. Sign up for one of Smart's boosted postpaid power plans today and experience the victory of superior service. Smart, bringing people together.
My name is Hermine Vega. El Patio Grill has been using Belize Bank for over 25 years. We only use Belize Bank at our restaurant. That's why we were able to win this trip to Europe. I had never been to Europe. We found out it was Madrid and we were excited and we went to this football match. The teams reached before the game and everybody was just outside, you know. You can't explain it. The noise just roared like 3 blocks down the street, but when you got in there and you saw 70,000 people in there, that was amazing. I couldn't believe it was happening. I had to pinch myself to make sure it was real, you know, because it's a one-in-a-lifetime experience, I'd say. My lucky plus one was my son. He's 18 years old, so he was really excited and he enjoyed it as well. He said it's his best trip ever, so it's a priceless experience that we got. Belize Bank has always been there for me. Whatever transactions or whatever I need to do, they're always there for me. I would recommend everybody to use Belize Bank. It's the oldest bank in our country and they continue to do their best.
Welcome back. We are continuing our conversation with the Prime Minister of Belize, the Honorable John Briceño, and we have touched on a range of topics in our first segment. Beginning this second segment, I think we can begin with the awareness that is currently taking place in the month of October as it relates to domestic violence. I know October is also recognized for Mental Health Awareness Month.
Met the young lady who will be there.
Yes. But PM, we've seen a lot of really disturbing cases that we've had to report on in just the first week of this month. What are your thoughts currently on what is taking place as it relates to the cases that have been reported on domestic violence?
I think that a number of things, but first of all, I think that we need to probably realize that this has always been there.
Yeah.
But people are becoming more aware. When I spoke to the young lady earlier about mental health I said, I remember growing up, we don't think about it. We just, oh, that kid standoffish, want to be our friend, you think of yourself. When many years they're having problems at home. I don't know about 2 girls in standard 6. Later on, we found out that they had a very abusive father, and we didn't know. We just normal, no? Or some kids couldn't finish school because their parents couldn't afford, and it affected them. So when I met them many years later, I said, "Boy, I couldn't finish because," and if you feel horrible because you don't think about these things. Fast forward to your topic, domestic violence. It has always been there. But I'm glad that we're becoming more aware of it, and that people are starting to speak out. For too long, we were ashamed to admit.
Yeah.
And it's something that has to be addressed, or continue to be addressed. It's a shame that we have to have a domestic violence day, or anti-domestic violence day, or a whole month.
Yeah.
We should not be having these things, because it should not exist. So what the things that there are a number of things. Government can't do it by itself. It has to be a tripartite effort. Such as the family. When a kid see a father beat her wife or the mother, that child becomes traumatized. But not only traumatized, but then afterwards start to feel, well, it's okay. It's okay to beat somebody else. Yes, it becomes
generational.
Normal. And even when the mothers in their frustration, because I remember at one time we had a neighbor in Orange Walk, and she had several children, a single mother. And my youngest son, he was like 5 years old. And every morning we hear she's screaming at the kids and sometimes beating them, and so one day I kind of felt embarrassed, but we said good for her. We went outside, we met at the same time, so he innocently said, "Oh, is it so you are the lady that's beating these children, These kids then believe that that's normal, and they grow up violently. So it has to start at the home. Like they start to have this mindset to realize that these kids need to change. The families, the fathers and the mothers, they have to be better role models to be able to address that. Government, we have been doing a lot. I think we need to give credit to Minister Dolores Badaramos Garcia, who has done tremendous work from when she was in the first government between 1998 to 2003, and presently continuing that work, addressing this issue of gender-based violence or domestic violence. And now we have to look also at education. They had the, I always forget the word, HFLE, yes, health and
families.
Sorry? Health and family life education. That was, for some reason, stopped. HFLE, the curriculum in the schools. And Rosanna, as a special envoy for families and children, has met with Minister Fonseca. She, with her team, and of course the experts, they have reviewed the curriculum. They have updated the curriculum, and also come up with a teacher's guide for it. And she has already met with Minister Fonseca, and Minister Fonseca agreed that we need to bring it back. Because we need to start to teach these kids in the school and say, guys, it's wrong to hit a girl. You don't do this. Or
it's also wrong to hit a boy.
I was going to say, and also wrong to go to issue the boys. The issue of gender-based violence, the rights that we have, we are all different. We are not the same. We need to teach them about this.
Yeah.
And so, it's important at their formative years. This starts from preschool, this curriculum, which I did not realize, all the way up to high school. So these are some actions that have to be taken, but at the same time, the police. And I remember many times Rosanna would be very upset because a wife or a female would go and make a report, and many times our police are insensitive. Not all the time, not all the police, but they're insensitive. They say, "Oh man, that's just boyfriend, girlfriend fight, man." And then tomorrow, no, I'm happy, or today, wife, man, go home because tomorrow, I'll come back and.
Until it escalates, and then they could have
somebody
prevented
gets
it.
badly hurt, or God forbid they get killed.
Yeah.
So they need to take that into consideration immediately. And despite the fact that if tomorrow you decide to change your mind, that's your problem, but we need to act now and protect you. And even this issue, I think we need to find a way that once you make this claim to make it very difficult for you to just change your mind. Because
Yeah.
many
Or an
times-
investigation still takes place.
That's the point. That the investigation must continue because many instances, a lot of it is economics.
Yeah.
You know, the wife, you know, or the girlfriend, the partner, they help and go to school or they pay something for her. If you don't do it well, what you want to do? And if with the families, the mother have to look about feeding the children. So I'm going to court to the you know, with one shame face, well, you know, I'm sorry, I never mean it, whatever it is. No, we need to make it difficult for you to pull back that case once you go. We need to protect all of our people that are vulnerable, be it male or female. But in this case, unfortunately, it's mostly female.
PM, while we still have you with us, I want to segue to politics. So that is the order of the day, right?
No.
2 Saturdays ago, you unveiled your party,
Right.
unveiled the slate of 31
Right.
with you as the leader of the People's United Party. What are we looking at in terms of your confidence that all of your candidates on your slate will be successful whenever you call the next general elections?
We don't have National Party Council meetings by WhatsApp. We have it in person.
Yeah.
And we had over 300 people, and it was very good, and people are energized. They have seen the work that we've been doing, and the work, I mean, and yes, there's always, you know, we need more streets, we need more roads, you know, we need electricity expansion, water, schools, all of that is there, but they have seen the tremendous work that we have done as a government, so they're very excited and pumped up. If you left them, they won't call elections now, but we have a lot of work to do. And I said no elections on any time after January 1st. We could call elections, but not before. I'm very excited about the team. Okay, definitely not say what. You know, at first time I met him, I did not know him before. He's an exciting young man. You know, very good in sports. Now he's working. Always organize sporting events. He lives in the college division. His family is there. You know, these are the people that we are attracting. Kaya Katus, you know, again in Tong City Council, but come back again. You know, Larry Ellis, you know, a very successful businessman. You know that was born in Collet, grew up in Queen Square. You know, these are people. Dr. Queen Square, Dr.
Lorna McKay.
Laura McKay. I mean, and we can only attract people like them because they see the work that we're doing and they're seeing that we're moving in the right direction. And so I'm very excited about the team that we have in place. And I believe that we're going to do very well. And that whenever we call elections, people are seeing the work, they're feeling the work. But all of us always want more, always want better, and that's the way it should be. And I encourage them for that.
You mentioned the Plan Belize manifesto earlier. We're less than a year away from the next general elections. If one were to look at what all were set out in the Plan Belize manifesto, do you believe that you have accomplished most of what is in that manifesto?
I think what I think I want to put it separate differently. I
Okay.
think that what we have accomplished has been transformative. Transformative in the sense that we have reduced poverty from 52% to 26%. Just last year, it reduced by 10% to bring it to 26%. Transformative that we have an unemployment rate of 3% that has never been done before. Transformative that more than 30,000 students are getting some kind of financial help from the government. Transformative that we have been expanding more and more high schools to give free education. I want to pay everything for these kids. And if you can't afford your uniform, we give it to you. Transformative that we have brought down the debt from over 130% to GDP to about 64%. Transformative in the sense that the first time the United States government and since independence have looked at Belize as a country that's moving in the right directions with strong democratic values, work with the private sector, working with their people, respect for human rights, to say, you know what, we want to work with you. And in just 2 years, we managed to get $125 million grant US. that will be spent in education and energy. Transformative, that for the first time, because of the Blue Bond, now people all over the world want to hear me go and give them speeches about what we're doing in Belize. And when you see the amount of the level of success that we've had, like saying like, wow, transformative, that when, because of the personal relationship I built with then President López Obrador, he opened the cattle market to Mexico. I do many things, including farming. We have a farm and we have cattle. When we just started off around 2006, the pound for cattle on the hoof, live, was at 60 cents a pound. Because we opened the market and the competition in Guatemala, the price now is hovering between $2.50 and $3. We have over 5,000 farmers and cattle ranchers, if you want to put it that way. 80% of them produce less than 50 heads. That means that over 4,000 people benefit from that, and now they are no longer poor. These things are transformative. Opening up markets into looking at Guatemala and Mexico. I think that this has been a truly transformative government in what they do. Housing, while they tell you, you want to build 10,000, look, government want to build 10,000. We will make sure that thousands of homes have been built by the private sector. But for the first time, the government, previous government, 13 years, what houses did they build? Look at the amount of houses that we've been building, hundreds of them. And so these things have a direct impact. Land, here we have the minister, the DPM, Colonel Hyde. What does he do? What he's been doing regularly on a regular basis, take Belmopan to the people, take the office to there. These things have a direct impact on people's lives. That's transformation.
I wanna make a point on the topic of land, simply because I know that it was heavily covered in the news. Just to get an official response or a reaction from you on record, PM, what was your thoughts on the InnovaBell scandal that was recently aired over the course of of last week, where the former mayor, Sharon Palacio, would have distributed lands at insane discounted rates? She would have recently put out a press release justifying her issuing of these lands at these rates. What was your reaction to that?
I don't want to be at a back and forth with the former mayor, but I was disappointed. I expected more. Honestly, I was expected. But that's a local matter. We have a really, really good mayor in Pablo Kawichin Belmopan, a decent man, and that wants to do good, and trying to fix. And it's a local matter for them to manage. And I think if they need to have legal action, well, that's a matter for them to decide. But it's disappointing. It's really disappointing. And I think it's time for us to be able to, and just I was talking to Minister Fonseca a few days ago, and he said, maybe we need to look at the role that Recondev plays. Maybe it's something, good role as time has come to an end. Recondev was there when Belmopan was not a city, it was an administrative center, and so they provided the services for the city. But now that the city, it's a city, they collect taxes and everything else, then probably maybe we need to reconsider the role of that, and hopefully could minimize these things from happening again.
Last week, we would have also covered a story based on a press conference that was held by the Belize National Teachers Union, where they would have been sharing some concerns from teachers, PM, who have stated essentially that they have not been paid for as long as 6 months. Of course, we would have also gotten a direct response from the Ministry of Education on some of the issues behind the scenes, where they are saying that the payment system is a bit antiquated. Have you been aware of what those issues are, and are there any consideration being taken into perhaps how we can modernize maybe the smart stream system?
I have been aware from time to time. of some of these issues. Not often. First of all, I need to start off by apologizing to these teachers. It was never our intention that they will not get paid. I mean, we need the teachers. Most of our teachers are excellent teachers, and they should be paid, and they should be paid on time, and we apologize to them for that happening. And I know it does not mean much, but the point is that we do recognize that something happened. Important enough that as soon as it came to the attention of Minister Fonseca, he immediately took action and cleared up most of them. There are a number of issues that need to be resolved. Yes, the issue of the smart stream now it's coming to my attention that probably we need to do another upgrade to it. So I'll be meeting with the Financial Secretary Joe Wade this week and to talk about it, how we can upgrade the system, because as more and more people come into the system, it becomes more problematic. That is one. Secondly, also the management. Sometimes managements either forget to send a name or forget to send it on time or do not send it complete. So when those things happen, you can't pay. So it's a number of issues that we have to be able to do. And we're working on them, and it will be resolved. Again, my apologies to the teachers.
All right, well, PM, as we wrap up this segment, I know the final question that a lot of people want to know is, do you have a date for the next general elections? I know you might not want to give that date, but can you at least give us an idea, perhaps the start of the year, the middle, the end of the year? What does 2025 look like for Belize election season-wise?
Well, we will have a new government in 2025.
Still not the answer.
Listen, we have our whole slate in place. And so once January 1st comes, could be at any time. But we still have a lot of work, and so we want to continue to be able to work. I don't in any way want to feel, like bossy or anything like that. I don't want to take our voters for granted. I mean, I've been in electoral politics for the past 31 years. From high school, I used to walk with my dad and my uncle to give out papers. I've been around 1984. I really felt that we'd have won in Orange Rock Central. We lost. Why? Because my candidate was my father, took the people for granted. Never spent time in his constituency. So I'm urging all 31 of us, make sure we spend time in our constituency. They travel all over the world, get you to win. We need to go, and because they will bring projects, and then people know about Belize, etc. But we need to spend time in our constituencies, and because we can't take people for granted. So I really truly believe that people are going to give us a second term, but we need to continue working hard.
Why not formalize like a fixed time frame that elections take place, like the municipal elections?
That would be something that has to be a part of the constitutional reform. Unfortunately, they did not finish on time. I think they're doing the last part. Well, they've asked for, I think, have some more funding to be able to finish, to be able to wrap up, and then make some presentations to us. Obviously, it's something has to be done, something that's going to be addressed in the new government.
All right. We wish we had more time, PM, but unfortunately, our time is out. As we wrap up this conversation with you, do you have any final words that you'd like to share with the people of Belize?
Well, certainly. Again, thanks to both of you for giving me this opportunity to be here once again. And I want to assure the Belizean people that there is not a single day that I take them for granted. That is a tremendous, what should I say, what the people have given to me, the tremendous honor to be able to represent them, is something that I do with all my heart, with all my energy, trying to do as best as we possibly can to continue to make life better for Belizeans, to take Belize in the right direction. And now I'm seeing now the work that, now that majority of people believe that we are going in the right direction and that we can do more. We're not perfect, we're going to make mistakes, but I could assure you that they're not deliberate mistakes. We learn, and that's what we have to do. As we're coming with this work, nobody teaches you to be Prime Minister. I had opportunity to learn from Syed Musa, who did a lot of good stuff. Unfortunately, there are some things that did not go well, so we learn from that. We learn from that and ensure that we can then do better. So that said, thanks so much. God bless Belize. As always, please protect us from the hurricanes. October, November are some of the most dangerous months because of the cold fronts. But once again, thanks again.
All right, and thank you, 2 p.m. We wish you all the best, and we look forward to having you here again very soon.
Sure, con gusto.
We're going to take another quick break, and when we come back, the conversation will surround prioritizing mental health in the workplace. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
My name is Hermine Vega. El Patio Grill has been using Belize Bank for over 25 years. We only use Belize Bank at our restaurant. That's why we were able to win this trip to Europe. I had never been to Europe. We found out it was Madrid and we were excited and we went to this football match. The teams reached before the game and everybody was just outside, you know. You can't explain, the noise just roared like 3 blocks down the street, but when you got in there and you saw 70,000 people in there, that was amazing. I couldn't believe it was happening. I had to pinch myself to make sure it was real, you know, because it's a one-in-a-lifetime experience, I'd say. My lucky plus one was my son. He's 18 years old, so he was really excited and he enjoyed it as well. He said it's his best trip ever, so it's a priceless experience that we got. Belize Bank has always been there for me. Whatever transactions or whatever I need to do, they're always there for me. I would recommend everybody to use Belize Bank. It's the oldest bank in our country and they continue to do their best.
Oh, I wasn't having a bad day. I just needed...
It's here! The biggest sale of the year. Get ready to find your happy place at Builders Hardware with our happy sale from October 15th to December 31st. Whether you're a professional contractor or a DIY enthusiast sprucing up your home, we got unbeatable prices that will put a big smile on your face. Now is the perfect time to give your wall a fresh look. Get 20% off paint and a whopping 25% off paint supplies. But wait, there's more. From our stylish light fixtures to fans and AC, we got everything you need to elevate your space, now at 25% off. And for the finishing touch, check out our wide selection of tiles, where you will surely find the tile to match your style, all at 25% off. Plus, with 30 to 50% off selected items, you will find what you need at a price that will surely make your pocket smile. We also sell sand and gravel, blocks, roofing, and so much more. Yes, you can get all your materials from construction start to finish right here at Builders Hardware. Don't miss out on our happy deals. Tell your friends, tell your family. Come visit us, save big with our happy sale from October 15th to December 31st. Builders Hardware in Belmopan. This is your happy place.
We think our customers are awesome!
The AIC mobile app has been helping many to save time while getting more done, all from the comfort of their homes. When you download our mobile app, our services are at your fingertips. Log in using biometrics, view motor and property policies, file a claim and submit claim photos, request a quote, receive renewal reminders starting 6 weeks prior to renewal, submit renewal request, view branch locations, and obtain Google Map directions, make payments via Atlantic Bank Bill Pay, and even contact your customer care rep directly. Prospective clients will have limited access, but can request a quote, place a call to a branch, view branch locations and obtain Google Map directions, file a claim. And since all paperwork is completed beforehand, there's no waiting in line. With all the time you can save, can you afford not to use our app? Download today on the App Store or Play Store. The AIC mobile app. Insurance at your fingertips.
Welcome back. We are having our final conversation this morning, and as we mentioned, this segment will be about how to prioritize mental health in the workplace. We have here with us representatives from the Ministry of Health and Wellness. Joining us is Lady Vallejo, and she is a nurse specialist too with the mental health program from the Ministry of Health and Wellness. And with her is Casilda Bowman, and she is a psychiatric nurse practitioner also with the also under the mental health program with the Ministry of Health and Wellness. And on the far end to the left is Juliet Simmons, and she is a psychotherapist. Ladies, thank you so much for joining us, and welcome.
Also with the Ministry of Health.
Also with the Ministry of Health and Wellness. Thank you so much. All right, so this is one of those conversations where, of course, we always have to appreciate talking about mental health awareness. I know this is the month that we will be seeing a lot more activities taking place, a lot more awareness campaigns being put out from various ministries, but we definitely expected something from the Ministry of Health and Wellness. Because mental health not only takes place, you know, in your personal lives, you take it with you at work, you take it with you at home. Can we talk about that? How mental health affects perhaps work performance, and why it is important that we prioritize mental health awareness in the workplace? Let's begin with perhaps Ms. Vallejo.
Well, of course, statistically it's shown that an organization that fosters a culture of good practice with mental health, it reduces absenteeism and presenteeism, meaning a happy employee will function better. So we need to create policies, internal policies to create and foster these practices. Why? Because sometimes at work we spend most of our time there. Yeah. So we tend to feel like it's only work, but we is not only working and then just you left work at that place. When you have to go home, you have to function as well. It's a 24-hour job. So if we don't take care of this mental wellness, it could be a disruption or dysfunction of it. So we target more people in the workplace, female males now, especially males, because I feel like there's no need to talk about these conditions or when they have a problem. And stress is not only about the physical stress, it's about talking or doing your performance, your physical. If you're not mentally well, of course, it's somatized in physical symptoms, headaches. The typical one is muscle pain, stomach ache. You have more visitations, more calling sick. So if you have people not functioning to this maximum level, of course, it will have a reduction in productivity in the organization.
You said something really important. Nurse Vallejo, you mentioned that we tend to spend most of our time at work in the first place. The people that we see on a daily basis at work are also the people that we probably see the most of too, you know? So it's so important that we foster an environment that is conducive for good mental health, and also to recognize that it's normal to have off days too, you know? So is this something that we are also ensuring that persons understand that it's also normal to have off days? Nurse Bowman, let's hear from you.
So definitely one of the things that is important, and particularly what we want to highlight in this month, is to increase awareness. And when you look at a hierarchical business, if the management don't, how would you say, value mental health, then you will notice that the midline, the bottom level, won't feel that, well, maybe that I would say that, you know, it's not as important, and so we look at physical ability and not the mental wellness. And let's go back a little bit more when we talk about mental health. When we talk about mental health is the well-being of an individual to cope with the regular stress of daily life, really realize their ability, work, learn, and contribute to their environment. And so when we look at mental health, we're looking at trying to foster and increase awareness of trying to get a good holistic approach to having all of those things encompassed in our work.
But how do you break that stigma, nurses, I'll say nurses, when in the workplace it might be seen as weakness if you can't show up because you're feeling a little bit bummed out today. People tend to value more physical illnesses and think that they credit more physical illnesses as actual illnesses than things that they cannot see. I want to get Ms. Simmons in this conversation since you are a psychotherapist. What are your thoughts on that particular challenge that we see?
Well, it definitely is a challenge, and it's a challenge that we face and we're fighting on a daily basis. The stigma is there. We have this culture, this belief that mental health is taboo. We don't want to talk about it. We don't want to know that it exists. If we have somebody in our family that is struggling with depression or anxiety, or even more of the more serious conditions such as bipolar or schizophrenia, you want to keep that inside the family. You don't want anybody to know. Or you go the other way, you shun your family member. So that stigma is there, and that enters into the workplace as well. People see that if you have mental health conditions or issues, they see it as weaknesses and that you can't perform well at work. I have worked with many people that are struggling with these, what we would call more everyday or lighter conditions such as anxiety and depression, and they are not getting the support they need from their employers. And then we have the other side that gets all the support, beautiful support that we encourage, and we want to applaud those establishments for doing such.
It's a paradox in a sense, because we always say, don't bring your personal problems to work, right? It's insensitive,
you know that saying, right?
Because you can't not bring your personal problems to work. It's everywhere you go. It's in you. You're
So
thinking
we have
about
to
a
look
breakup.
at
You're
that
thinking about how you deal with your kids. You're thinking about how you're going to pay the next bill or what. So that goes with you wherever you go. So to tell someone, you know what, leave your problems at the door, it's essentially telling them, well, we don't really care how you feel, or we don't care what's going through your mind. You come to work.
And we're paying you to perform, so we can.
You mentioned, and what Nurse Bowman was saying, the definition of the WHO is that the ability to cope. We have been conditioned to think this is the way we have to function. If you not give your all, even if you have a fever, you come to work. If you have a flu, only because you have to wear your face mask. Mental illnesses or conditions, they're just like, it's a medical condition. It's not separated, it's the same. If you're not mentally well, of course, it will somatize physically. So one of the core things that we want to raise awareness in the society is empathy. And there's when it comes. We have to be flexible, we have to adapt. Yes, we have problems, everybody has problems. But the ability to cope with it, it means that your boss might not be able to solve your issues, but sometimes we are humans, and we make mistakes. It's not just lash out at people. Be empathetic. That's why you create an environment whereby people could be able to talk instead of judging you if you are not performing well. I give some.
Well, let's talk support that the workplace can give to the general staff members that are battling with anxiety or depression or the larger scale illnesses. Or nothing, you just need to know that your workplace cares. What type of support is the ministry recommending that workplaces should give?
Well, one of the things we have in the public service is the Employee Assistant Program, where we offer therapy and counseling to any public officer and their immediate family. So they get therapy outside of the public service, so not necessarily from the mental health program. So it is very confidential. So officers feel that they're being served and their information is kept confidential. It doesn't affect anything at work. So we give them that time to go and see their therapist. And that's the same thing we encourage other establishments to do. And I know there's several that has it.
And also increasing that in the environment that allows people to feel comfortable in saying that I am not okay. And allowing the people who are around them to have resources available to steer them in the proper direction, Because one of the things, while we recognize that awareness is very important, is because what we are seeing now is that people are coming in very late. So they're suffering for so long. This is after they're compensating so long, their body is starting to physically respond to the stress now. They're feeling other things that are physically making them sick too. All right? And so awareness is one of the biggest and the most important thing, because that helps us to intervene quicker.
So the referrals are very helpful for us, because just like how Nurse Bowman and Ms. Simmons were mentioning, we just noticed I have these conditions physically, but they don't think until the doctor screen and they say, wait, we don't give you this, but it's not getting better. And also what the Ministry of Health is, part of the operational plan is that we do psychological first aid for in-house and to the other organizations, whereby they have 3 core activities: look, listen, and link. Look is screening, check. Listen what is the problem, is that to solve the problem, and then link to the resources that we have available around the country.
I know during this month there will be several, as I mentioned, campaigns that we will be expecting from the ministry. Are there any activities that we can expect in the earlier parts of the month?
Yeah, well, right now what we're trying to do is we're trying to reach out to different organizations that we recognize would probably need the mental health support team, and we will go out. We're trying to do training as much as possible. So if you guys have an organization or any organization needs our help, they can reach out to us. Each district has a mental health department, and so each district can reach out to these mental health departments to seek help within the organization as well. But we are Belize District. We're going to different organizations and providing mental health information.
Wonderful.
We also have the Mental Health Association, which I am a board member of. So coming up next week, Wednesday, we have a youth symposium actually, where we bring some high school students together and we talk about changing the narrative on suicide and mental health. How to help, break the stigma that we face.
Wonderful. Well, ladies, as we wrap up this segment, I'll ask if you have any final words that you'd like to share with our viewers.
Well, first of all, thank you for having us here to share this space and informational aspect. I want for you guys to help us to raise awareness, and we are here and prioritize our mental wellness in the workplace.
Wonderful.
So, well, we're starting a conversation, and we're willing and open, and we're here to help.
Wonderful.
I just want to add to be supportive to your staff, even if it's just grief and laughs, just be there. Yeah. Check in and say, how are you doing?
Wonderful. Ladies, thank you so much for joining us, and we wish you guys all the best.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, we are going to take our final break, and when we come back, we wrap things up.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is what you've been waiting for. In this corner, we have the masters of limitless power and unbeatable connection. Pioneers of 4G LTE in Belize. It's the undefeated champion, Smart. And in the other corner, struggling to keep up, it's the other guy. Fight! Tired of getting blow after blow from a plan with the other guys? It's time to tap out and join the winning postpaid plan provider. Smart's postpaid plans are a total knockout to the competition, and they have once again powered up their postpaid plans. Sign up for one of Smart's boosted postpaid power plans today and experience the victory of superior service. Smart, bringing people together.
Hey Jay, ready for the first day on the job?
Man, I can't wait to get paid.
I remember when I first started making money, I loved to spend, not a thought about priorities.
Life was good, huh?
Boy, life got tough. Bills started to pile up and I didn't have money for the more important things.
So what did you do?
Jay, everything changed when I started to budget.
Budget? Can you tell me what is budgeting?
Alright, well you see,
a budget is a plan on how to spend your money. Budgeting helps you prioritize your spending and plan for the future. To create a budget, tally up your salary and any other funds coming in. Next, list your expenses. This includes rent, utilities, groceries. Be sure to include savings, no matter how big or small. Now, deduct expenses and savings from your income. What's the balance? Are there areas where you can cut back? Review your budget regularly and adjust as needed.
Oh, now I see the importance of budgeting. I need to make a plan before I start spending.
Good move, Jay. This is how you position yourself for financial security now and in the future.
Take control of your financial future. Start budgeting today. A message from the Central Bank of Belize. Visit us at www.centralbank.org.bz.
Rising prices got you down? Well, let Benny's lift you up in these tough financial times. Right now, get low prices on construction materials, such as lumber. And whenever you make a purchase, remember to get your B-Box, which is free money. Only at Benny's, quality and savings.
This October, join us for a double celebration. On October 10th, we honor Taiwan's National Day, and on October 11th, we celebrate 35 years of friendship between Taiwan and Belize. Get ready for a series of exciting events. The Taiwan Expo 2024 is coming to Belize from October 10th to 12th at the Caribbean Motors Showroom in Belize City. Discover Taiwanese products tailored to the Belizean market, featuring motorcycles, auto parts, hardware, health, skincare, and many more. Don't miss the Taiwanese food tasting area, featuring shaved ice, dried fruit snacks, and authentic dishes, and more. Plus, test ride high-quality motorcycles from Kuan Yen Motor. Join us at 2024 Taiwan Expo. See you there. Our celebration continues. A volunteer medical mission organized by NATMA Taiwanese Diaspora in the US will come to Belize and offer free medical services to Belizean people from October 15 to 18. What better way to celebrate our National Day than 35 years of friendship between Taiwan and Belize?
Welcome back, and thank you for sticking with us. We had a wonderful conversation this morning with the Prime Minister of Belize, as well as representatives from the Ministry of Health and Wellness. It is October 7th, and if you're celebrating a birthday today, happy birthday to you. And if you'd like to give a birthday shout out, or if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, you can send us an email at oye@channel5belize.com. You can also catch us on Facebook at Open Your Eyes BZ, as well as Instagram at OYE Belize. As we wrap up this show, we want to encourage you to stay tuned, because we will be airing a live coverage of the regional workshop for Caribbean Small Island Developing States on the Biodiversity Beyond National Jurisdiction Agreement. So please stay tuned to that. We will immediately follow up with that live coverage. And please join us again tomorrow when we open your eyes
to start your morning right.
Until then, keep your eyes, your mind,
and your hearts open.
Have a wonderful Monday.
Open Your Eyes was brought to you by Smart, bringing people together, and the Belize Bank, our country, your bank.